Well, welcome back to our channel. Today we have some exciting news from Canada regarding the Cannabis Act. The Canadian government has finally tabled the final report of the legislative review of the Cannabis Act, and we are here to break it down. And we're going to break down what this means for the cannabis industry in Canada and beyond. Now, the Government of Canada has released its final report on the review of the Cannabis Act, identifying 54 recommendations and 11 observations on how to strengthen and improve the administration of this act. First, some background on the Cannabis Act review itself. Now, as most of you know, the Cannabis Act, which came into effect in October 2018, legalized recreational cannabis use in Canada, and since then it has been conducting a comprehensive review of the legislation to assess its impact and identify areas for improvement. The final report of the legislative review of the Cannabis Act is meant to provide valuable insights into various aspects of cannabis legalization in Canada. Now, some of the key findings include social equity. The report highlights the importance of promoting social equity in the cannabis industry, ensuring that that marginalized communities have opportunities to participate and benefit from the legal cannabis market. They also talk about public safety and public health. The review emphasizes the need to prioritize public health and safety measures in cannabis regulation, including and continuing robust quality control standards and education initiatives to promote responsible consumption. The report also examined the economic impact of cannabis legalization, including job creation, tax revenue generation, and opportunities for economic growth within the industry. These 54 recommendations and 11 observations were made regarding potential changes that we could see happen to the regulatory framework governing cannabis production, distribution, and retailing in order to enhance efficiency and effectiveness within our sector. So, what do these findings mean for the future of the cannabis industry in Canada? It's a good question. The recommendations outlined in the final report could lead to significant changes in how cannabis is regulated and managed in this country. The tabling of the final report of the legislative review of the Cannabis Act marks an important milestone in Canada's ongoing efforts to redefine its approach to cannabis legalization. The report recognized the economic challenges facing the legal cannabis industry right now. The panel also calls on Health Canada to reduce the financial and administrative burden that it places on those operating within the legal sector. It recognized calls for excise tax reform, and the panel also called for changes to excise taxes, with higher potency products being subject to more tax than lower potency products. Notably, the panel also acknowledged the sector calling for a greater THC potency limit for edibles. But the panel says that on taking balance into consideration, the panel felt that the increased risk to public health outweighed the concerns. Because of this, the panel is recommending that we maintain the current 10 milligram THC limit for edibles. So, Organigram CEO Bina Goldberg reached out to us here at High Canada with her perspective on the final report of the legislative review of the Cannabis Act, mostly because this is a very significant milestone for the industry, paving the path for its continued sustainability, financial viability, and innovative advancement, and this is after more than 5 years of legalization. Statements from Bina Goldenberg, that's Chief Executive Officer of Organigram, included her saying that Organigram firmly believed that to achieve the stated objectives of the Cannabis Act, a healthy and sustainable industry is required. Despite a few favorable recommendations and observations, The recommendations found within the report were not robust enough to deliver the impactful changes needed for this industry. Now, Bina went on to state that the expert panel's failure to recommend that THC levels in edible products increase from 10 milligrams to 100 milligrams per package was disappointing, as we clearly know that we are ceding ground to the unregulated and unsafe illicit market, putting public safety and public health at risk. Now, while Organigram is pleased to see an acknowledgement that the excise framework needs to be revisited, the move to taxing higher THC products at a higher rate is likely to drive some consumers back to the illicit market. Finally, the recommendations to continue with plain packaging and limit promotions will continue to hinder the ability of legal producers to convert illicit market consumers. Bina concluded by telling us that despite the recommendations tabled in this report, we sincerely hope, that's Organigram sincerely hopes, that the government has listened, reforms the excise framework, and amends the Cannabis Act accordingly. Only by doing this, or by doing so, will the government fulfill the public policy objectives of legalization. Well, very well said, Bina. Very well said indeed. And it should be really interesting to see what happens next. And we are watching Canada's reaction and Canada's cannabis leaders' reactions closely. Stay tuned for further updates on how these recommendations may shape the future of our cannabis industry. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more updates on this and other developing canna-related stories. See you next time.